Game News USA here. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe because today we're going to get into a big news story. And today we're going to talk about Crimson Desert releasing a brand new patch. It's coming. They're promising a huge patch to address discomfort many players have experienced with controls, and they apologize for awful keyboard and mouse experience. This is an article from IGN, and we're going to jump right into it. But first, let me explain what's going on with Crimson Desert. So, obviously, we all know this was like a big, huge game announced. It sold millions of copies. The reviews were lower than expected from the critics. There are a lot of fans who like the game, though, too. And it's a huge game, but there's also lots of problems with it. One of those things being the controls. The stock's been tanking. Like, the studio stock has been tanking because of those critic reviews not being up to snuff. But it's also selling really well. So, Crimson Desert's kind of in this weird place where it can clearly get better through patches. Now, I'm not always the biggest defender of games releasing and then needing huge patches in order to get better. You know, I was very famously against Cyberpunk for being a broken mess at launch, and then now everybody loves it after the patches. And I always view a game as, if the game was bad on day one, it's a bad game. And I'm not saying Crimson Desert's a bad game. There's a lot here that looks like you could love about Crimson Desert. I just think some of these controls were baffling. Baffling decisions. Like on how to run and how to pick items up. The simple things they fucked up on when it came to this game. But let's read this article and discuss. So, Crimson Desert developer Pearl Abyss has told players it will address the game's widely criticized controls via an upcoming patch. In an online statement, Pearl Abyss said it was well aware of the discomfort players are having with the controls and confirmed a patch will address it. The developer did not say when this patch will be released or detailed what it will actually do. Most players are desperate for controller mapping and key binding support. So, yeah, I mean, I just think that any common sense or common knowledge of, like, playtesting the game, you would have realized some of these controls were just really fucking stupid. Like, I hear that I don't play the game, but I hear that you have to, like, tap a button to run, that you have to focus on items before you can pick them up, and it's just really, like, not very intuitive controls whatsoever. But I do have to give the developer credit for looking like they're listening to the audience on this specific issue. Anyway, continuing. Meanwhile, Pearl Abyss apologized to keyboard and mouse players for their experience playing the game. Crimson Desert recommends players use a controller instead of keyboard and mouse when you start, mindful perhaps of how fiddly its controls are. As IGN reported, Crimson Desert launched big on Steam with nearly 250,000 concurrent players. Marathon would love that. But it currently sits as a mixed review on Valve's platform. That has been adjusted. It's now mostly positive. Much of the criticism from players revolves around the controls, which some have called clunky and unnecessarily complicated. I know RGT85 said that he's never felt like a game has worked so hard against him in a game before, which is not what you want to have. There have been some performance complaints too. For example, PS5 owners have come together to work out the cause of blurry visuals, an issue that's also on the PC version. Despite those shortcomings, Crimson Desert has sold an impressive 2 million copies in just a day, and it remains among the most played games on Steam. Neither Sony or Microsoft make their player numbers public. They should. I really think that should change. Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, they all need to make their player numbers public. I think it'd be interesting to see, like Steam does. Not surprised Crimson Desert sold well. It was getting a lot of hype before it came out. It's going to be one of the highest selling games this year. I think people really like what they consider good, big, open world, single player RPGs. Seriously, they love when they come around like that. There is still no commitment from Pearl Abyss on accusations that Crimson Desert contains AI-generated art. If Crimson Desert does contain generative AI art, it would put Pearl Abyss in violation of Steam's AI content policy, which requires generative AI use to be disclosed on the game store page. Currently, there is no such disclaimer. I really hope that's not true, guys. I really hope that Pearl Abyss did not use AI art in Crimson Desert without disclosing it. That if so, that's not a good look. Here's Pearl Abyss statement in full. Fellow Greymanes, it has been a little over 36 hours since launch, and we would like to start with a sincere thank you to everyone who has been playing Crimson Desert. Since launch, we have been listening closely to your feedback and doing our best to make improvements to the game. In particular, we are well aware of the discomfort many players have experienced with the controls, and we are currently preparing a patch to address this. We also want to apologize for not providing keyboard and mouse players with a satisfactory gameplay experience. Please know that we are taking your feedback seriously and working to improve your gameplay experience as quickly as possible. If you encounter any other issues while playing, please refer to the notice below for information on how to submit a report. We're following your experiences across issue reports, videos, live streams, and community discussions. Every report has shared experience, helps us to make the game better, and we truly appreciate the time you take to share them with us. We'll keep working to make your adventure in Pywell even more enjoyable. And thank you again for your continued support. I think that's a pretty well-worded statement, and it gives me hope that they get it. Pearl Abyss will be keen to address the main complaints of the Crimson Desert sooner rather than later in a bid to improve its Steam rating review. This week, IGN reported on how Pearl Abyss saw its stock price plunge nearly 30% in what was seen as a reaction to review scores from critics. Yesterday, the company's stock fell a further 9.78%. According to the Korean business press, Pearl Abyss reportedly spent 7 years making Crimson Desert, with a development cost coming in at 200 billion won, which is approximately 133 million US dollars. Damn. I see why this game is so big now. We've got plenty more on Crimson Desert, including patch notes in its day one update, the IGN's Crimson Desert review, and our launch interview marketing with PR chief Will Powers. And they've also got a Crimson Desert PC performance review. Let's keep in mind, guys, IGN is the same website that gave Crimson Desert a 6 out of 10, but didn't finalize the score. This is after a reviewer has spent over 100 hours on it. I'm really tired of IGN in particular, who's supposed to be the industry leader, not giving you scores on day one. It's their fucking job to play through these games, no matter how big they are, before release. Granted, I hope they gave them a copy sooner rather than later, but a bunch of other places had a review score out day one. IGN had a tentative 6 out of 10. Keep in mind, this is the same company that reviewed Concord at a 7, Dustborn at a 7, and I believe also, I think they liked Marathon as well. But don't quote me on that. But yeah, basically that's it. Crimson Desert's coming out with a huge patch. Should fix things up. So if you're on the fence about this game, I would wait for this patch and maybe wait for a sale and pick it up. Maybe that's what I'll do too. But until next time, guys, this is RJ signing out. Have a good one.